Fresh and Buds.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you guys are all my buds. And I'm joined by a bud today, Mr. Daylon Mack. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be a part.
Yeah. You know, we had been talking about getting you on for a while here, and I'm glad we can get you on while we're talking about some crazy Everfest cards that we've been seeing. This is some like initial impressions kind of show, you know. And but first, before we really get to the meat of it, I want to have my listeners get a feel for you, Daylon. First of all, you are a top 8 ProQuest competitor, and you missed the winning in on top 64, right, in Dallas, the calling.
Yeah.
And which was crazy because you had just started playing the game, correct?
Yeah, my first tournament, and I was playing for the winning in. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, winning in on top 64 first tournament. But unfortunately, I was playing a Briar player, so it was, it is what it is.
Now, was it sealed, that one?
Yeah, it was sealed. So Swiss was sealed, and then the top 64 and up was just draft.
Okay, gotcha. Now,
I had a pretty good Lexi pool for sealed though.
You and then you did the ProQuest the next day, so you had the ProQuest, and that was sealed as well. But this time you weren't on Lexi.
Yeah. So the next day was sealed, but I mean the next day was CC. But I ended up playing. I played Oldham, and that went well as well. I lost early on, and the way it works in like ProQuest is like it's like very, very tough if you lose like early. So
yeah, it is tough to. I mean, I know from playing in some skirmishes that losing early is like sucks because like you're sitting there with like the 4-2 record and everybody else is getting in, but you lost in the beginning, and it is what it is. And but now, obviously, before Flesh and Blood, you still do play football, but you were playing a lot of football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a big football fan. Now, what was the path for you from football to card games? Was it happening at the same time while you were at Texas A&M? What was going on there?
So it was when I first I'd never been to a locals before, so. When I started playing card games, it was when I got to college, and I was playing at a Hastings, and they were playing Magic. So I was like, okay, I'll go up there and play some Magic. I was a big fan of the Pro Tour. I just like watching because I like the commentary and the gameplay. And so the Hastings ended up closing, and there was like a Yu-Gi-Oh day the last day. And so I said, yeah, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll go up there. So I went up there. I was playing, and some guys showed up, and I ended up winning, with my deck, which wasn't very good. The guys I was just going against just weren't good. But the guy said, "Hey man, you should come to this locals," and I was like, "Oh, there's locals down here. I've never been to one before." And I started going there, and I spent a ton of time. It was my first time being around like card game players, like hanging out, theory crafting. Yeah, it was just awesome. Like it's everything I wanted, and my love kind of grew from there, and then just kind of transitioned. I got into Dragon Ball Super, started playing that game really competitively until about this past September when I just started playing Fab. So
Now, in high school, were you playing at all, or were you playing any kind of card games, or was it football all day?
So I was my schedule is like I play a lot of football, but we do have a lot of free time. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to like watch deck techs and all that stuff. In high school I was playing, but like I wasn't serious. Like there was no local scene, so the only thing I could do was just watch deck profiles and just net deck the good players, pretty much.
Yeah,
and that was my way of keeping up with the meta. So I always had like a semi-competitive deck on me because I would just net deck good players, but I never could like test it out against anybody. I never had anyone to play with.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, that's what happened when I got to college. Like, because I just watched so many of the top players, and I had the best deck, which is that's pretty much how Yu-Gi-Oh works. Like, if you have the best deck, you're pretty much, and you know how to do your combo or whatever. You're pretty much in there. So that's all I knew how to do, and that's how I ended up, just playing the game. So
I guess it's kind of how you would, get the initial rudiments of just card games in general, even if it's just like net decking and just like getting in the reps, right? It's just that's what it's all about, and then from there you can kind of broaden your kind of understanding of games and stuff like that, which obviously you have, and especially with Flesh and Blood. Now, I love Flesh and Blood. I probably got into it probably like only a month or so before you.
Okay.
I would say, and I played a lot of card games in my day. Now, you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I find that Flesh and Blood, strategically, and almost in regards to tempo, is probably the closest to football in terms of the tempo of a game. How important it is to score and then stop. And am I making sense here? This is something I've thought about a ton. And I'm like, because I'm like a huge football fan. I am a Packers fan. And I'm sorry to say, Daylon, that I don't think Dez did catch the ball.
Funny, I actually played for the Packers for like 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Yeah. How was that? Was it a good,
really
good
nice
experience?
Yeah, really nice experience. Just up close with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite players, so it was a really nice experience. Hate that I couldn't stay, but it's a business. So
yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Now, I mean, in terms of football, and we'll get back to Flesh and Blood. You've been with the multiple different teams over the years since you got out of college. Most recently was the Titans.
Titans, yep.
Nice. Now, are you looking towards playing some more in next season, or is it all Flesh and Blood?
I'm actually not sure.
Okay.
I'm actually not sure. I know I will be playing a lot of Flesh and Blood, but as far as the football side of things, I actually don't know. So I'm currently a free agent, and we will see where that goes. So.
Well, if there are any teams out there listening to the Fresh and Bloods podcast, I'm putting in a good word, obviously. But now, as a player and a competitor, you obviously, are involved with pro football, and now you're starting to get into the pro Flesh and Blood scene. Are you getting really geared up for this year of 2022 of competitive Flesh and Blood play?
Yeah, I'm about to hit it really hard. I hit it really hard for Orlando, but like the Cheerios deck kind of came out like pretty late, like right before, like I think like a week before was the Illusionist that like it broke out, and so I didn't have a whole lot of testing against it, and the testing that I did do, I was winning. So I was like, okay, well if I run into the Cheerios decks, like I'm gonna be okay. But obviously that was not the case. I won my first round, which I played against a Briar deck, and my deck did what it was supposed to do. And then the next 2 rounds, I played against in the second round I played against a Briar player, and I lost, and it was really close. But I feel like I made a mistake there, and so I was like, okay, it's like that one's on me. The next round I played against a Briar player, and I had like Lake Frigid out, and he still dealt me 15 damage. And I had Lake Frigid out for 2 turns, and he dealt me it was like 12 and then 15. And so he ended up winning that game. Obviously, you have that turn with Lake Frigid out. And that's when I realized I was like, yeah, I'm just not even going to ruin my ELO anymore. Like, I obviously picked the wrong deck for this event, So after that, I was just like, whatever. I was kind of salty, too, because it was my first time playing in a CC event. And I feel like I was like a really good player, but I honestly just feel like I picked the wrong deck, because I'm not trying to hate on the players I was playing against, but like what they were doing just didn't require really any skill, I felt like. And I could tell that they were kind of like, just like they were just reaping the benefits of playing the best deck. Like, it wasn't even that I was just like I was playing bad. Like in my round 2, that one was on me. And I think that guy did actually end up topping, so that's kind of whatever. But the guy I played after that completely just reaped the benefits of playing the best deck. Like, like Lake Frigid is literally the #1 card to slow the deck down, and he dealt me like 15 and then like 12 the next turn.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, all right, well, if that can happen, then like it is what it is. And I wasn't really, I'm playing Lexi, right? So I just lost I just lost to my most favorable matchup, quote unquote. Which, looking back at it, the matchup, I still would think that it's in Briar's favor because like you have to be able to pivot against Briar, you just have to take like 15 damage because you can't like use your equipment to like pivot and gain momentum. So like that's not really what you want to do in Flesh and Blood. You want to be able to pivot with your equipment, and make sure you can like string it along. But I wouldn't take Lexi again. I should have played Briar. Like I really should have. But yeah. I'm this next go around, I am gonna make sure that I pick the next deck. I have 4 tournaments coming up. The one we're going to in Philadelphia. The first Battle Hardened event. It's honestly between Earthbriar and the new Bravo leader is the 2 that I'm possibly looking at taking. And then I don't want to play Lexi there because I feel like that whether the list is defined or not, I feel like everyone's just going to be playing it just because they want to play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I don't think playing like Lexi is going to be very good. And then because of that, I don't want to play Vis because a lot of Prism is going to be there because like a lot of Guardian is going to be there. So I would be playing Prism. So I don't want to play Vis. So I think Earthbriar does well into Prism, and Briar does well into Guardian too. So I think those are the 2 decks that I'm going to be looking at testing. So
yeah, now it's interesting. It does really speak to, especially you're talking about that or that Lake Channel Frigid turns that sound pretty unfortunate, but it really does speak to the power level of that pre-ban / errata Briar deck, which was out of control. And I'm sure that your opponents were skilled players. However, it is a very streamlined deck. It was a very streamlined deck, that Cheerios deck, and that is it's not fun, right? And it's not fun to lose to. And honestly, I personally don't really find it fun to play, just to kind of be mindless and win.
I can't say that. It was fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it is. I mean, it is a lot of power, but personally, I'm always playing some stupid,
some jank
or some just like I mean, I'm a big Levia player, and that's just because I hate myself, and but yeah, man. So you're looking at Earthbriar right now. You think Earthbriar is the way going forward, at least for the time being.
Yeah, so like right now, with the spoilers we've been shown, I don't think there was anything that was shown that's like shaking up the meta, a ton. Which I kind of feel like the meta was going to be like that, because why else would you like if you knew that Everfest was going to shake up the meta and like change it and make it all diverse now? You wouldn't have banned Briar and did all the things that you did if you knew that something was going to change. So right now we're seeing what they saw is like, oh, Everfest is not going to change the meta that much. So like, you probably need to handle Briar because it's still going to be the best deck with everything that comes out in Everfest. And which is so far with all the spoilers, like the only thing that I think changes emerges in the meta is the new Bravo leader.
Yeah.
And that, like everything else I've seen, maybe Katsu kind of steps in, but it depends. Like that new card they got, the instant where they can like opt and then put it on top and then make a quicken token and draw.
Yeah,
that's like that's perfect for them because they just go Kodachi for 1 and everyone takes it, and then you just play this card. Yeah. Now I got a free attack, go again, all that stuff, draw a card. Like it's broken. Like it's perfect for them. They deserved it. They needed support. That card is good for them. But other than that, and Bolton, I feel like Bolton got a really, really nice buff with the attack the non-attack that was presented today, I think that card really helps out.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Dash is like the biggest loser from the from the reveals.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we'll go through each like class, and I think we'll give our initial impression because we still have a lot to be revealed. But so far, I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen some stuff that I do think is pretty intense. But now, before we get into a crack a pack, are there any decks that you're like thinking of brewing post Everfest? It sounds like you're big on the new Bravo. I think he's star of the show, Bravo star of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Um, he's. I mean, I think he's pretty busted, to be honest.
Yeah. He. So I found the way I'm gonna build him is I don't even want to like use the ice stuff. Like I'm just gonna use Awakening and Blink because really just Awakening. Like Blink probably only comes in against Prism
Mm-hmm.
because you just need it. But Awakening and Crippling Crush is like that's just insane. Like you should and I honestly think it's so insane to the point that like people might just want it banned. Because you shouldn't be able to it was different when you were awakening and you were getting like spinal crush. Like that's kind of okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can still do an attack, right? Like you can still get a turn. Where Bravo being able to awakening and get crippling crush is like why like it's just an automatic like pivot. Like no matter what, like
Mm-hmm.
you have to block it or you just lose your turn.
Yeah.
And when you block, you basically are giving up momentum because you don't have a turn if you block.
Yep.
And now you just with a 2-card hand, it's crazy. You can do it off of a 2-card hand. And with a 2-card hand, you just gain momentum. You like whatever your opponent was going to have to like respond to you. You gain momentum, whether they block it or they don't. Like you gain momentum, and then you just bounce back. Like it's just the ultimate bounce back card. And like you can't really get mad at your opponent for like trying to go in and push as much damage as possible. But like when someone is just sitting there like, yeah, I'll take the damage, and you're just looking at them like, oh wow, like
He's
you
got
must have
awakening.
Yeah, honestly, like that card is just gonna get abused so hard now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Especially if so you got 4 cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like the 4-card hand combos with Awakening is insane. So if you have a blue to pitch for Awakening and then like a pummel in your hand and you can play the pummel, you get to play Crippling Clutch for free and then you have 2 cards left in your hand. So you can pitch and play pummel, or you can play Terra Sunder and literally just destroy them, like literally blow them out.
Oh yeah.
You're like you can like it's just pretty insane. But and honestly, like against Earthbriar, like Earthbriar can like push and do all this damage, but it's like if you get too far ahead, then you're just gonna get blown out by Awakening. So I wonder if like pacing is gonna be, which is weird that that's never been a concept that like you even think about. Like I want to be ahead, but I don't want to be too far ahead. Like it's always like I want to be so far ahead so that I have momentum that whatever my opponent does, it just doesn't matter. So like I feel like now like pacing is going to be a thing against Guardian, which is so weird to even think about. Like it's crazy. Like Flesh Blood always introduces new concepts.
Yeah, it is pretty strange, and I mean obviously Awakening is amazing, and I think that just scratches the surface on Bravo because not only that, I mean I don't even care about Bravo's his hero ability because that's hard to pull off. You need like 3 different kinds of cards.
Exodia, yeah, you literally get Exodia to pull it off.
Yeah. So like, I mean, which it's awesome if you can pull it off. Like, right, you pulled off on turn 1. That's when you can pull it off if you build your deck that way. But on top of that, he gets access to the Lightning Gloves. He gets access to Crown of Seeds. He gets access to like all these amazing like weapon pieces. Plus, he can play Winter's Wail if you want with the shield, and it's out of control. But I mean, we'll see. I think, I mean, as it stands now, we're only a couple days in the spoilers, but I want I'm thinking that Bravo's going to be the deck to beat in at least in the first couple weeks of Everfest competitive play. So,
I
but
think
before we get into, some early impressions outside of Bravo, and then we'll talk about Bravo again. But let's crack a pack. I like to crack a pack every single episode. This is the last. No, maybe not. No, this will be the last pack of Tales of Aria for a long time because it's been a lot of Tales of Aria lately. But I'm going to read.
This
What was
box
that?
yet? Have you pulled the spice out of this box yet? Or
This is a prize pack I got from my armory this week. So
Okay.
we'll see. I don't know if the spice was pulled yet. So I'm gonna I'm gonna say the card. I just want to get your quick impression on it in like limited, like
Limited?
sealed. So first out of the pack is Icy Encounter Blue.
Icy Encounter Blue.
So
Very, very good pitch card.
yeah, good pitch card. I mean, it still has the break point at 4 to try to get that frostbite. Definitely not where I want to be in pack 1 though.
Yeah.
This is the worst card, in my opinion. Though I've been told otherwise. The worst card in the set, I think, Rejuvenate. This is Rejuvenate Blue. I guess if you need a pitch.
Yeah, that card's never seen play.
Next we got a third blue in a row. Break Ground Blue. This is the 3 for 5, and then when it attacks, you can put a Arsenal card on the bottom and draw a card.
That's interesting. I feel like if you go Oldham pack 1, that probably comes back around to you, so that's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've been known to take that because I like to force Oldham, but it's never really the right choice. But I do it.
No, I think forcing Oldham and limited is correct.
Yeah. He's pretty strong. Now, this is a banned card, Ball Lightning, not banned and limited, but
what color is it?
It's the yellow one.
Yellow. Yeah, that's. Let me hear the rest of the pack. That Ball Lightning right now sounds like our pack 1 pick 1.
All right. I'm gonna throw the rares at the back, so we get to them last. We have Emerging Avalanche Red.
Yeah, that's getting passed up.
Yeah, it's getting passed. I don't tend to play that one. I will play the Earth, the Strength of Sequoia a little bit more. Blocks for. I mean, they both block for 3, but I kind of like the Seismic Surge a little bit better, especially when I'm playing thumps and stuff. The equipment is Mark of Lightning.
All right, that's our pack 1 pick 1 without question.
Yeah, so far so
pack
good.
1 pick 1.
And then we got Yellow Frazzle.
Yeah, I would never take a yellow arrow early on.
No, me neither. I wouldn't even really hop on Lexi that early ever, and I don't even know if there's a card that I could open that would put me in Lexi right away. It's not even. I don't even think it's Voltaire because Voltaire's not good enough in limited.
Yeah, the only thing there's nothing that puts you in Lexi right away. It just like the only way you get into Lexi is if you've been drafting ice cards,
mm-hmm.
and then you just haven't got any good Guardian cards, and then because I feel like ice Lexi is good. Lightning Lexi looks like it's kind of whatever.
It can
like if I had a lot
tough.
If I had a lot of good lightning cards, then I would just go into Briar.
Mm-hmm. We have Bramble Spark Yellow. It's a pretty good card.
We gotta pass that up though. We gotta get the mark.
Yeah. The Mark of Lightning is where we want to be. First pack. Strength of Sequoia Yellow, which we can always get that on the wheel if we needed it.
Yeah.
Man, have we had a single red? Oh, just the Emerging Avalanche. Flake Out Yellow, which I mean, as we said, we're not on Lexi. This is I do like this card, Vila Flash, but this is the blue one.
It's blue. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now it sounds like the best card is Mark. The next best is the Ball Lightning is going to be gone to the person next to us. There wasn't really any good arrows, so we didn't have a Lexi pack. And the only good Earth card in there was Break Ground, and that's the Oldham. So we're passing. The only thing that might come back around to us, I would assume, is some arrows or a break ground.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to get that Bramble Spark on the wheel, but that's probably not happening. But
Yeah, because the pack is weak. Like Mark is probably the best card, then Ball, then the Bramble. So the third person is probably going to be on Briar.
yeah, we do have a Red Thump. I do like that card quite a bit.
Got a Red Thump? Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you pick the Mark of Lightning, you're hoping to get something Runeblade on the way back, but Thump would be fine if we ended up picking up some more Earth.
Yeah, I'm pretty. The break ground is probably not making it back around to us. It depends. I don't know. Yeah, the break ground's not making it back around to us.
We have a couple more cards though. We have a foil Singeing Steelblade blue.
Okay.
That would be a good one to get back on the.
Yeah, that probably comes back around.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a great card, but here's our rares: Blue Weave Earth. Not the best one, but not worse. Not the worst either. Actually, I personally would take that right now, just because I think
in the first pack.
Oh yeah. And my reasoning is because I always draft Oldham with thumps, and it fulfills two things: is an Earth pitch for blue, and it pumps up thump. So
you can't pump up with that though.
Oh, Earth or Elemental. You're right. Never mind. I'm off of it. Oh man. I don't know. Hopefully, no. I've never pumped thump with that card. So, yeah, never in a draft. But good on you knowing that right away.
Oh, dude, I played a ton of draft. like honestly, it's so like. I don't know. I think it's because I played it so much with my friends and like my team that like everyone kind of knows tendencies.
Yeah.
So, and in all honesty, in my opinion, I think Briar is like the weakest out of the drafts. And sealed, if you have a sealed Briar deck,
it's out of control.
Yeah, you're going to top 64 easily.
Yeah.
But like in draft, it seems like everyone is really trying to fight over the Briar pieces, right? Like everyone's trying to fight over the Earth cards.
Okay.
Because Oldham is the actual best, and he can block Arcane if he gets the Earth cards. So like Briar's gonna have like not a lot of Earth cards, and then the next best cards are the Lightning cards, which take away from you as well. So like the two best cards, like the Lightning and Earth, are getting fought around from everybody at the table. Because someone's trying to play Oldham or someone's trying to play Briar. So like everyone's fighting for those two, and then Ice just gets the shaft because there's not really any good Ice cards. So like I think Ice Lexi and Oldham just like gets the Ice because nobody like kind of wants it. So I think I think it's Oldham first, then Ice Lexi, then Briar. But that's just me. Even though Briar's made it to the finals every time.
Yeah, I mean
Oldham's won every time.
It is tough to say. I mean, Briar is very strong, but they always felt like there was always 4 Briar drafters at the table, and that was always the biggest thing against it, right? You know, it's way too many people fighting for Briar stuff. But we have the last card is a Majestic that we had talked about already. Blink.
Oh,
Is that knocking you off of Mark of Lightning?
No, Mark, you got to get Mark because like the way it should go, right, is the equipment. I feel like if I have equipment in my pack 1, depending on what it is, I'm probably going to take it. Like obviously, Deep Blue is everyone's pack 1 pick 1. Mark of Lightning is probably the second. Cracker Jacks, I probably would take a Cracker Jacks pack 1 pick 1.
Yeah.
Plume Overgrowth is very underrated.
Yeah.
And the only reason I rate it high is because it seems like every time I play Sealed, I get Plume Overgrowth and Red Weave Earth. So I just play Weave Earth, pitch the blue, pick up the Weave Earth, play it again. Boom, I got like my next attack is +6 and I get go again. Like it's insane. But the way it should go in like draft is like everyone to me should be prioritizing Earth cards. That's what I do. Like I'm like, okay, I want the Earth cards because that puts me in Briar. Like I have Oldham open, and then I could possibly go into Briar. So like those are okay pivots. I want to play Oldham, but like if I have to pivot into Alexa, that's fine. If I'm taking Earth cards away, that means I'm like hindering the Oldham deck, so they can't block my Arcane. And then like towards the end, when everyone's kind of settling in your classes, that's kind of when like I pick. But you have a pretty good feel for it, but you gotta take the mark, man. The
Yeah,
mark is lit.
I think we gotta. I mean, I think personally, I mean, you know, as a team here, we're gonna take the Mark of Lightning, but me, probably a blue Earth card right away because
Blue Earth cards?
I don't even want to entertain the idea of going into Briar or Lexi. So.
Yeah, that I like at this point, I don't even think it's a bad idea because in my top 64 at Cincinnati, I was sitting next to Michael Fing, and this is before I realized that like Oldham, like I knew Oldham had won the previous calling, but like in my what I thought was Briar was still the best class, and then as I kept drafting, I realized that like Briar's actually the weakest because everyone's just fighting at the table for like every good card goes into Briar, so like you're just missing out on all the good cards.
Yeah.
But Michael Fang, he kept passing me like really good really good Runeblade card.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, this guy's passing me like he's passing me a Bramble Spark, or he's passing me a Red Singeing Steelblade or something like that, or an Arcanic Shockwave. I'm like, he's passing me the stuff, and I'm kind of looking at him like, are you passing all these good cards? And so I immediately knew, I was like, okay, well, he's not on Briar because I have the goods. Yeah. And, you know, it turns out I think he played Oldham from top 64, 32, like all the way out. He played Oldham, and he ended up winning with Oldham. So
that was at Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Yeah. So he actually plays at my LGS every once in a while, Michael Fang, and the Monday after he won, like the day after he won Cincinnati, he shows up for a draft in my LGS. He must have just like drove through the night to get back to Jersey, and he was already ready to draft again. And I sit next to him like, oh my God, you know, I'm just figuring out this format, and this guy just won a freaking calling, and of course, you know, we do the draft, and we both like, it was like, oh, is there an Oldham at the table? And we both said, I'm like, oh, we were both an Oldham. I was like, oh no. we ended up playing each other, but he actually gave me some great pointers on how to play the mirror, which you know, I was still learning at the time, but I mean, he's a great player. So
yeah.
But yeah, so the Cracker Pack, will put that out of the way over in the giveaway pile. Now we're gonna get to the main topic. Some early impressions of Everfest. We've had like three full days at this point of spoilers. You've had some spoilers as well. We'll get into that, but which were very exciting. So I'd like to kind of we'll just go through by class, and then kind of I want to point out some cards that I think are going to be some role players going forward for CC, and I guess a little bit of Blitz here as well. But first of all, let's start with generics. We saw, I think, two really strong generics. The first one we saw was Fire Breathing. What were your thoughts on this? Now for the listeners at home, this is a majestic generic attack action. Cost 2. It's red. It has 3 attack, 3 defense, and has instant. Pay 1 resource to give it +1. Activate this ability only while it is attacking.
So it's not once per turn, right?
It is not once per turn. So you could, I did the math on it. I think you can get it up to 13 damage on if you have like all blues in hand.
All blues? So 13 damage, huh? So how much does it cost then?
It costs 2. So if it goes out of Arsenal, I believe you can get it up to 13 damage. So I mean, the low end is probably like 5 damage that you can pump it up to, but I think the threat of activation with this card is pretty intense, because people got to decide, it's like, do I overblock this or not?
Yeah, that's cards like that are so weird in Flesh and Blood, because like it's kind of like the Shock Charmers thing, right? It's like, oh, they let my attack go through, and they ask for like any reacts or whatever, and I'm like, oh, my attack's gonna hit, so I'll pump with Charmers, and then they sink below from Arsenal. And I'm like, oh, so I just pitched 2 cards for no reason. Like you just kind of get blown out. I don't know if it costs 0, and I know I'm just saying like I'm making the card as broken as possible. But if it costs 0, like I honestly could be like, yeah. I mean, if it costs 0, I would definitely pitch a blue to make it come in for 6. But you can't have a 0/6.
Yeah,
that's just broken. That's broken.
Yeah. Now, I mean, so I actually think the 2 cost is probably pretty fair for this. Now, the thing that I really like about this card, and I mean, it does as a former Magic player, it basically does what the Magic card Fire Breathing did, was just like give something +1 for 1 mana or resource. Now, I like that you can attack with this for 3 and then be in a tough situation, so they block with 3 cards from hand because they know they can't take a lot of damage, and then you don't even have to pump it. They just got rid of 3 cards for just your 1 attack, which I think gives you a pretty good tempo swing. And then obviously you have to give it Go Again, which, it's generic. It can easily get Go Again in a lot of different decks. And then you can start doing other things. And they already, went all in, put all their eggs in the blocking basket of Fire Breathing.
Yeah. So like, in Blitz, I could definitely see it being like, oh man, this card is nasty. Like, I have to block this. I have to do something. But in CC, like, I don't know how good it'll be in CC. Like, it's very weird. It's always going to be coming in for 4, because if you pitch a blue to play it, then you use that 1 resource is coming in for 4. But I think it's like really, really safe card design.
Yeah,
because if it costs 1, then we would kind of be into the point to where like, it's a 1 for 5. If they pitch a blue to play it, like it's like, okay, well I'll just make it a 5.
Yeah.
It would have been really on it. Like it depends on like what like on hit like if there's something like a Blizzard Bolt before it, maybe give it an on hit effect.
Yeah.
Like the opponent doesn't want, but. I think it's a good card. I think it's a Blitz card though. I think they looked at it and was like, oh, we'll give Blitz some support, and it's definitely broken in Blitz because when someone plays it, it's like,
all right, half my life.
Yeah, right. You lose half your life, and then they come back and try to take a tag. You just like, no blocks. Like if you can't kill me, then I'm gonna keep momentum.
Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's definitely gonna be an all-star in Blitz. Also. With a card like this, there is some kind of potential of some, like down the line, we haven't seen cards that would do it now, but down the line, we could see that card being some kind of OTK, right? There's no limit to how much resource. I mean, obviously, it's hard to, right now in Flesh and Blood, to create a lot of resources, but people are going to be jamming a bunch of energy potions in a deck with this.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, man, you got a bunch of energy potions set up, and you play this, and it's just like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So no, it's pretty exciting. I like the card design. It's not changing the world here, but it's still going to be pretty good. But another generic card that sparked my interest is Bingo. This is the other red generic.
That was LSV's card, right?
Yeah. One resource, 5 attack, 3 defense, and it has on hit. They reveal card from the opposing hero reveals a card from their hand. If it's an attack action, Bingo gains Go Again. If it's a non-attack, draw a card.
It's funny. I feel like before a lot of these cards probably would cost 0 if it wasn't for Cheerios Briar, just because like having recently being a thing, because like I could definitely see this card being a 0/4 and just having this effect. But like now they just put it costs 1. And I wonder, I really would like to talk to James White and be like, why does this card cost 1? Like, why don't you just make it a 0/4? Because now we're seeing 1/5s and like, wow, like 1/5 is like, I don't know, it's like a weird break point. Like,
yeah. I mean, the card is very threatening. I mean, the less zero costed cards in the game, the better, in my opinion. At this point, after what's been going on, but
Yeah.
you know, I am excited for bingo. I think it's. I mean, if it feels like to me like it's not going to be Command and Conquer level or a Lightning Strike level, but I think it. I mean, it's generic. You can play it in anything. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be good enough.
My only issue is like it has to hit first off. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like that's weird. And then if your opponent has a defense reaction in their hand, they're just like, all right, well here's an instant or here's a D reaction.
Here you go.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess you don't get any, I guess you don't get anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's definitely downsides to the card, which is good. I think generics don't need to be super powerful, or else they're all going to be $90 for the rest of our lives. But let's get to the brute cards. You had two really fun brute previews yourself.
Yeah.
First was Skull Crushers, a brute equipment arms. Whenever you roll a 5 or 6 on a die, your brute attacks gain +1 this turn. And then if you roll 1, unfortunately, like most brute cards, there's a downside. You destroy the Skull Crushers, and it has Battle Worn 1.
Yeah, that's yeah. I really wish it had Battle Worn too. Like it's brute. They should be able to block. Like they should be a heavy armor class. But I mean, because like the Warrior Armors blocks were 2 Battle Worn. I'm like, man, I can't believe they didn't give this to brute. But I don't even know if this card will see play over the Gambler's Gloves.
It's
they'll
tough
probably
to
run.
say. I think
But
it's made for KO, honestly, for Blitz and as a brute player, I could see maybe putting it in the aggro matchup because you don't really want to roll Scabskin as much in aggro. You just kind of want to, play defensive. So it could be.
Yeah.
It could be an okay.
I think brute is literally like insane. I'm so surprised that deck is not more popular in Blitz.
The KO deck or the Rhinar deck?
Rhinar. It just forces damage for no reason. Like it's just like, oh, okay, well, double intimidate. What are you gonna do? Like, why? I don't know why they would ever block. Like, why are you blocking? You just intimidate their hand.
Yeah. We'll talk about this other card you had spoiled. High Roller, which is a 0 cost. It's coming in red, yellow, and blue, but the red one has Intimidate, which is great. If you've rolled a 4, 5, or 6 on a die this turn, instead Intimidate twice. Go again. This one's a little more exciting, I think.
Very, very exciting. This my sponsor is a brute player. He I think he was the only guy to win in our team with brute actually, like with Rhinar. So that's why his nickname is Alpha Brute. But yeah, this card is really good. Like if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, you already have 2 action points for the turn, so that's good. And then on top of that, like your opponent you have 2 action points, and your opponent only has 2 cards to defend you with.
Yeah.
So like, it'll be mad annoying going for game, and they just high roll you. Like the name is so fitting, like high roll. I got high rolled. Like you can't do anything about it. I think it's especially good because the meta is like really. The meta is trying to be defensive right now. So I think it's like really, really. A lot of people are going to be playing a lot of D-Reacts.
Yeah.
Like even I've started playing like more D-Reacts. I think I have like 7 in my deck, but I never played D-Reacts at first. I always thought they were bad. It always feels like that until you block a snatch or something with a sink, and it's just like, perfect. D-Reacts are awesome. Or you block like your opponent kind of dominated Crippling Crush, and you're just like, staunch response.
Yeah.
That's the suck. So I've kind of grown a little bit more on D-Reacts as of late.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Reckless Swing player. Like I've won so many games with that stupid card. Now I gotta say, I mean, with these 2 cards, you have to assume they're gonna be adding more dice rolling to the game, or at least for brute. I mean, it seems like there's got to be more dice roll cards, at least in Everfest, with these 2.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are going to do more dice roll cards.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see. Ninja seems to be getting some pretty intense cards. I actually, I'm a little afraid. We got this card, 100 Wins, which is a 0 cost, 3 attack, 2 defense, and that's combo. If it was the last attack, this combat chain, this attack gains +1 for each other card named 100 Wins you control on the combat chain. Go again, which, you know, I mean, it already has the go again, so it's pretty great. It's gonna just chain off into like some really big go wide turn, and then you can follow it up with this majestic that they spoiled, Winds of Eternity, which is a 0 cost, 2 attack, 3 defense, but it has combo. If 100 Wins, the last card, was the last attack this combat chain, it gets +2, and then when it hits, shuffle all cards named 100 Wins you own on the combat chain into your deck. I mean, this card is, I mean, the two of them is going to make Katsu just out of control.
If Brute and not Brute, if Ninja gets all the essence like like Bravo just got, we actually will have a problem on our hands. Like, it actually will probably be the best deck, just because it's the closest thing we'd have to like the Cheerios Briar, and they would just jam 9 of that new instant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then because that card's already gonna see play. Like, that card is insane. Like, literally, it's just so easy to pull off. Like, no one's blocking a Kodachi.
No.
Like no one, unless it's actually the third attack to hit on the combat chain, like when you would actually have to block it. Like, if someone starts their turn off and just pitches a blue and goes Kodachi for 1, like, are you like, if you block that, then like I don't know, that's, but
you gotta block the second one. You always block the second Kodachi, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first one always hits, and then you activate that card, and then it's just like, dang, like, my opponent just got so much value just then. Like, made a quicken token, drew a card.
Oh, yeah.
So his next attack has go again. Like, it's just crazy.
It's these cards are probably some of the more exciting ones that we've seen. And Katsu's always been kind of good. It's always been fringe. Like, you know, I imagine this kind of pushes Katsu a little bit further. So
yeah.
Let's talk about Ranger. So we started a little bit late tonight because Red Zone Rogue was spoiling a card. We had the Dread Boar, which is a new bow, which is pretty cool. We'll see what it really does for Ranger decks. It is a once per turn action. You can pay a resource to put arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, it gains +1 till in the turn. Go again. Arrows you control have defense reactions, can't be played from hand. This chain link. So seems just kind of pushed for Azalea, who, you know, and for lack of a better term, is just not great. So we will see what that means for Azalea. But I think the more exciting card for Ranger is the Battering Bolt, which was the 2 cost, 6 attack, 3 defense arrow attack. When it hits, they reveal their hand and discard all cards other than action cards. They lose 1 life for each card discarded this way. Seems pretty strong. I mean, do you like that in something like Lexi?
I don't know. But I mean, on hit, seeing your opponent's hand lets you know,
what they
got. I mean, you can see your opponent's hand. Like, that's kind of that's cool. Like, you get to know like what they can actually do for their turn. So I guess you can block out more efficiently. But then they kind of create situations where you have to overthink as well. Like, what if you look at your opponent's hand and you're like, oh shit, they got the stone. Like, you look at your opponent's hand and they got like they're holding an awakening, and like, like, oh, okay, well, the awakening is just live because you probably just pump this for 7 and then you just, shoot it, and so it's probably live. It's interesting. I do like to look at your opponent's hand part.
Yeah. Could you not get rid of the awakening if it hits? Because it's an instant.
Yeah, it's an instant. So like if it hit, they would just just activate it.
Well, I think, I mean, the way I'm reading it is they would have to activate it prior to hit. So unless they I mean, like, unless they're already down damage, right? So because it all happens at the same time. So the hit,
Does it?
yeah,
I,
it's an on hit. So it's like, if Command and Conquer hits, you can't,
mhm.
you would have to do it before, you would have to play something from your arsenal before, um, to save it or have it not get destroyed.
Okay.
So
That
Awakening, it could be good against Awakening actually.
yeah. Now it's actually good. Uh, yeah. Now it's actually pretty good.
But
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, Ranger's Ranger. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they. It's
Yeah.
Guardian's just gonna always be a hard matchup for him
Mm-hmm.
because, in all honesty, like it feels like as a Guardian player, like your best play against Lexi is literally to just block, like just block them because
Mm-hmm.
block them, let them run out of their red arrows, and then they start throwing the crappy ones at you, and then they're just not lethal anymore. Like that's literally the plan. Like because they for the most part they only have like 18 red arrows or something like that in their deck.
Yeah.
So like you just block them, cycle. They can't properly defend you without keeping up their momentum. So like when you come in with like Anathos for a 6 or whatever, like you use 2 cards to block their attack, and 2 cards blocks an arrow, and 2 cards on the Guardian side let you come back for 6 with
Yeah.
Anathos.
Yeah. Which
So
is,
like and they're not gonna block because they can't really officially block Anathos.
mm-hmm.
So like you're leaking damage and you're blocking their arrows, and they're running out of red arrows. So it's just a bad trade off.
Yeah. It's hard to gain any kind of tempo with at least against Guardian for Ranger. It feels like, but we will see. There's plenty
Yeah.
of great Ranger players, including Isaac, which we had on last week, and I'm sure he's already brewing up with that Dreadbore. But
Yeah.
let's talk about Illusionist. This is my least favorite hero because I hate playing against Prism, but
I'm not
she got some
either.
cards.
Yeah.
She got the Fractal Replication, which is a 0 cost star. Which, what's star mean? It means that it could change his Illusionist attack. Whenever you play or defend with it, it gains the abilities and effects of all Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. And its attack is equal to the grace base of other Illusionist attack action cards in the combat chain, and then the same for its defense. So, interesting card in the mirror for Prism, it feels like.
Yeah. So in the mirror, yes, it's definitely pretty insane, but it's not. It's like really weird to me because I don't know if I would play more than definitely not playing 3, maybe 2, because like if you play the card
Mm-hmm.
and like your first attack gets popped for the turn, that
Yeah.
card is technically a brick because there's nothing to copy. So like it's kind of weird in that situation, and you can't like if it was yellow, then you just play it because it's
Yeah.
yellow. You can always pitch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like it's red, it doesn't do anything on its own. It's just weird. Like I don't really like cards that don't do anything on their own when everything else in the deck is doing literally something on their own.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a card that you want as the last card in your hand.
Yeah, you definitely can't do anything with it. It's probably okay coming out of Arsenal, but like if you know that you're going against a deck that can pop your attacks, which pretty much every deck can. Pretty much every deck can, right? Because everyone's playing CNC against Prism. Like, why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like in a weird spot, but I do think it's a good card.
Yeah, we'll see if they have a new Illusionist plan because we only ever got one, and maybe it'll just be better than that. So, and then the other thing is worth noting is they got the Crown of Reflection. It's got Arcane Barrier, 0 defense, but has an instant you can destroy it to destroy target aura you control or Illusionist aura you control. If you do, you may put an Illusionist aura from your hand into the arena with cost less than or equal to the aura destroyed this way. You can only activate it during your action phase, though. So I don't know if this card's that great.
I'm hoping and praying that this is not the promised or destroyer card that they said was going to happen. Because if it is, it would just be major troll. Because they know that Guardian literally needs that. Like, I wonder what an Aura Guardian build would look like.
Yeah.
They have a lot of orders, so they can do it.
Somebody's probably building it right now, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this card, I guess, is an okay way to like upgrade your auras, but like, why would you need to? Unless there's like, but even if it was a 0 cost aura, because like you can pop your shields, but it's not that great. We'll see. I mean, it's strictly better than Null Rune.
You get to play any aura from your hand.
Of the same cost or less.
I was like, well, you can cheat out Arc-Light Sentinel, but obviously.
That's how I read it at first. I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, oh, thank God.
Dude, there was I'll wait till we get to it. Because I read the card, it's an item, and I was like, oh man. I was actually talking to Kiki from New Zealand.
Okay.
And I was actually talking and we were talking about it, and like I told him, I was like, this card is insane, you know.
Which card is this?
I'll have to wait till you get to it.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. What we figured out is that it is in fact not telling me that it was not what I had thought it was.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, especially all these new cards, I just read them so fast, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's that?" And then like somebody's like, "No, that's not what it does." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But Guardian, we talked Bravo big time, but the other big spoiler for Bravo or for Guardian was Pulverize, which 10 costs for a 14 attack, 3 defense. It has a new keyword called Heave 3, and then it says at the beginning of your end phase, if Pulverize is in your hand, you have an empty arsenal zone. You may pay 3 and put it face up into your arsenal. If you do, create 3 Seismic Surge tokens. And then it also has, when Pulverize hits a hero, their first attack during their next turn has -4. So, I mean, this card's a beater, man. I mean, this card's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably like a one of.
Yeah, one of go get with your awakening.
Yeah, hoping that it's still in the deck, but it's broken turn 1 for sure.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You could just do it like, well, Heave, I'll just put it in there. But I don't know. I don't even know if I'd play 1, to be honest. Like, it's strong. It's just weird. Like, costing 10 is a lot.
Yeah. So ideally, in a world with no awakening, you want to Heave it every single time so that it will cost 7 the next turn, right? But
then that's a lot. Well,
yeah.
well, I mean, it'll cost 6, right? Because what you do is make a Seismic Surge first for the turn.
Yeah.
Then Heave this card, and then so you have 4 Seismic Surge tokens.
I mean,
I wish they did that. Like, why don't we have a way to? Because there's a way to like turbo out Rune Chants.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a way to like turbo out like Seismic Surge tokens?
Oh, because it'd be too good. Because all of a sudden people were playing 0 costed Pulverizes and hitting you for 14 every turn. Oh my God.
Yeah, it would be too good.
Yeah.
We're literally one Guardian size Surge creator card away.
Yeah.
From just being like, oh my God, this is too much. Like, Awakening in Bravo is already like, damn, really? Like, that's probably gonna be one of the banes of the format. It's like, man, I was winning, and then my opponent just drew his Awakening, and then it's like,
yeah, they got the tempo back.
Losing. Yeah, like, it's man, that's just gonna be insane. Especially if you just play for free and then follow up and you got a poem in your hand. Then it's just like, all right, I got a 2-card hand. I just play Crippling Clutch for free. So if you don't block, I'm gonna just take 3 cards out of your hand.
Oh,
so take 15. It's crazy.
Oh man, I can't wait to play against it. But
yeah,
it's gonna be a long day in Philly, I tell you that. But
yeah, I was actually theory crafting. I was like, I was playing my deck, and I was like, what happens if I get Awakening Crippling Crush right here? Like, how does that? And yeah, I literally looked at my hand and I was just like, well, I lose momentum, and Like that's just what you just have to be okay with. I probably would just save my equipment for that moment.
Yeah. Well, you know what
But like,
the best equipment is against Crippling Crush is Carrion Husk. So you got to play Levi or Chain, man.
the carrying husk, literally insane. Like that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Like if they ever come out with like a Shadow Ninja or another Shadow Hero,
Yeah.
I literally bought a Crippling Crush because they got to like 80s, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like this card is insane.
Oh, the Carrion Husk got the 80?
Yeah, they got the $80. I'm like, man, this is free pivot, but like the decks can't really.
Yeah. I mean, Chain still sees a decent amount of play, but we'll see. But let's talk about Warrior, which seems to be getting the most love. But first of all, it got its helmet, the helm of the Sharp Eye, which has 1 Battle Worm. It's a Majestic. Has an attack reaction. You can pay 1 to destroy it. Banish the top card of your deck. You may play it this combat chain. Activate this ability only if you control a weapon with attack greater than twice its base.
Yeah, that's the new headpiece.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's probably a little bit easier to like. I think Raiden really likes Raiden, Bolton, and then Dorinthia kind of likes this card as well because it has a couple of those attack reactions that can put stuff on top of your deck, so you can stack it to know what you're hitting.
Yeah, Warrior just has so much equipment to pivot off of. It's insane.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good piece. I mean, they didn't really have great equipment head at the head slot already, so
Everyone
I think
has.
yeah, and all the Arcanite skull cap. But I mean, this is at least has some utility. This is just a common that got spoiled in the swing. Cost 0. It's an attack reaction, but you can only play it if you have attacked 2 or more times with weapons this turn. But it gives target weapon attack +3. That's pretty good in like Bolton Sabers. It feels like.
Golden Sabers is gonna be. That's going to be everywhere. I'm going to have to learn how to deal with this OTK, which I was actually watching Arsenal's past video about it today, about when they talked about Bolton and when the OTK first came out and everyone was like panicking. Mm-hmm. And I actually like watched it. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you do it. Because I haven't played against a Bolton. I haven't seen anyone play it, so I don't, And the only Bolton player at my shop plays like the non-OTK version. So.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Bolton OTK got a new piece, Oath of Steel, which is a 0-cost warrior action. Blocks for 3, but whenever you attack with a weapon this turn, put a 1 attack counter on it. At the beginning of your end phase, remove all 1 attack counters from it. I mean, it's just another Lumina Ascension for that deck. I mean, it's going to be pushed.
But it's every time they attack with a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they attack 4 times, so that attack is gonna get +4.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So like the first time they attack for, let's say, 4, and then the next weapon they attack with gets a +1, and then it comes back and it's a +2. What does it say again?
Yeah, so whenever you attack with a weapon this turn, put a counter on it. Put a +1 attack counter.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you get 4 attacks each, or 2 attacks each. I don't know, man. They get so many swings.
It's an extra 8. It's probably an extra 6 or 8 damage. That I mean, the tough thing is, does the go off turn for Bolton?
It's way more than an extra 6 or 8.
Or does can you even fit an extra card into that cycle? Because you do need to, you do still need to charge that turn. So it's kind of hard with an extra, but but it is an extra thing that you can get out, or not get out of your deck, but play out of your arsenal to go off that turn. Bolton's going to be really scary, I think, is what we're trying to say here.
How would that work, right? They got a Lumina twice and play this card and charge and pitch.
So
that's too many. I don't think they can do it then, because they have to have 2 Luminas. They have to play this card. They have to pitch a card to play a card because they have to charge. They have to find some way to charge. That's so I don't think they can. I don't think they can do it. Like they can't do it.
I think it's hard to say, right? You need because Luminous Ascension. I mean, I guess if you have 2 Luminous in hand and this in your arsenal, and then you have a 0-costed charge card.
You can't. You'd have to. Well, you'd have to Lumina. Yeah, you'd have to have 2 Luminas in hand, and then this in arsenal, and then play a card that lets you charge a card from your hand.
Yeah, so you need to play a 0-costed charge. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do it because I think there are 3 Lumina Ascension turns that Bolton can have, though it's more common that you see the 2. But I guess it's just good because Oath of Steel is just more Luminas for the deck, so it makes it a little more consistent. So, I mean, hey, it's going to be scary. We're going to run into a lot of it in Philadelphia. I'll tell you that, man. But I might even play it, to be honest, but I'm going to see what Levia gets. Still holding out for her. We haven't gotten much Runeblade, but we did get the Vexing Quill hand, which is the new hands for Runeblade. It's kind of strictly just it's a strictly better non-rune glove.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's fine. Like, Kano's probably going to play a major factor in this upcoming meta, and this card, just being a better... Which I feel like they should do that anyways. Like, you should just be putting Arcane Barrier on stuff anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, everyone knows that, like, Runeblade, if we're in the world of Wraith, everyone knows that Runeblade is the most deadliest class. Yeah. So everyone should be building Arcane Barrier armor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, so I guess you just take out Grasp of the Arknight and put this in, like, against Kano and then against probably the Mirror if you're playing Viserai. And you could destroy it to make 2 Rune Chant tokens, which is
if you're playing in the Viserai Mirror, you can't take out Grasp.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
It depends on what version of Viserai, but I guess you only need 1 Arcane Barrier anyway. So, it doesn't.
They just do the helmet, the crown, because they don't want to get rid of the creepers because they need that. Yeah, and then they obviously have to run Skeleto.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, yeah. I guess it's just for Kano, I guess. But Runeblade doesn't really need anything. We all know that. So we'll see what else they spoil. And then in terms of Mechanologist, we saw 2 kind of sideboard cards. The Signal Jammer, which is a 0-costed blue pitch, it's an item and enters the arena with a steam counter on it. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy it if there's no steam counter on it, unless you remove a steam counter. So you get it for 2 turns. Each hero can't play more than 1 non-attack action card each turn. So that's kind of like just against Wizard, right?
Yeah.
And I guess like go wide.
I guess it's Wizard, Briar, like it's a good card. I don't know if it'll see play, but it's a
sideboard. Yeah.
And can it block? Can it block for anything?
No, it cannot.
That's
yeah.
Is there a way to add steam counters to it?
Not yet, but hey, I mean, there's got to be a reason they're printing cards like this, so maybe there will be. And then the other one is actually really good against Viserai. This is Dissolution Sphere, which is the yellow, cost 2, enters the arena with a steam counter. Same thing at the beginning of your turn. You remove a steam counter, and if you can't, you destroy it. But whenever your hero would be dealt exactly 1 damage, prevent it. So super good against, those pesky rune chants. And Kadachi.
If there's an instant that can bring that card out from the deck? Poof.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think there's an instant, but there is one card that lets you search for in Mechanologist that lets you go search your.
Yeah, there's an instant, and that card would just like destroy Runeblade. Not Runeblade, Viserai, OTK. It's like when they're ready to pop off, and like, oh, before you do that, let me.
Which be crazy. And then other than that, we haven't really seen. We've seen a lot of these potions, these talismans, which I'll go through all those during the set review. We saw one thing for Wizard, which is the Kraken's Aether Vein. 2-handed staff. I don't think it's good enough, but it has a once per turn instant. You can pay 3 to deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. Draw a card for each arcane damage dealt this way. Currently, there's no ways to buff that, so it's not necessarily the greatest, but are there any other cards that you saw that you're interested in this these first round of spoilers?
No, I don't think you talked about that item that I
Oh,
think it was Outcast might have did it.
which
They
which
had like Outcast Haven had 3 cards.
which item? I mean, the
So I'll just tell you what it
yeah,
does.
yeah.
So,
Tell me which item, because there's they spoil a ton of items.
they did. So what it says is when you when someone would when a person would play 2 or more cards with the same name, you can target that player and they discard 2 cards.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I thought it said when you play the 1 or more cards with the same name, you can target a player and make them discard 2 cards. And I'm
yeah.
like, well, I go Brambles Park all the time. So, like, I could just be like, oh, Brambles Park,
Yeah,
yeah,
this
make
is
my embodiment. And then, by the way, discard 2 cards. Here comes my attack.
yeah.
Not even intense.
This is Amulet of Echoes is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's,
Amulet of Echoes.
pitches for blue. It's 0 cost. Has go again. Has instant. Target hero discards 2 card. Activate this ability only if they have played 2 or more cards with the same name this turn. I feel like that card was like meant for Chain when they were playing Seeds of Agony, like Seeds of Agony,
Right.
Seeds
Yeah.
of Agony. It still could be good, I think. You
But
know,
like that's what I thought it did. Like I was like, oh man, Chain is gonna like destroy people with this card because they're gonna put all those cards in the banish zone. And how many times does the same card get banished? Like, oh, unhallowed rights, I'll play another unhallowed rights, and then I'll take 2 cards out of your hand.
Oh my
Like,
god,
yeah.
that would have been wild. But yeah, that's kind of our initial impressions on Everfest so far. We still got a lot of spoilers to go. At least another 2 days, right, and then maybe a little bit more next week.
Is there still another one coming out today, or is it all over for today?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Nothing's popped up on my end, but I know that there's a bunch of people spoiling it at midnight for tomorrow, so that should be exciting. We still haven't seen legendaries other than Arcanite Skullcat.
Yeah. Oh, because I told you that, huh?
What? The Arcanite Skullcat?
Oh, wait. When is this video coming out?
Oh, no. They already spoiled Arcanite Skullcat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When I opened up my pack, Arcanite Skullcap was my legendary.
Oh no way! Wow, nice,
Yeah.
nice rip. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Well,
like
congrats.
I was like looking at the cards and I was like, ah man, these cards aren't good. I got a rare, like I didn't even get a mythic, and I got to the last card in the pack. I was like, oh no, Arcanite Skullcap, that's crazy.
Yeah. When they announced, when they said that Arcane Rising was going out of print, they said, but don't worry, things will be reprinted. And then they showed Arcanite Skullcap and had the EVR thing at the bottom, and that was before we even knew what Everfest was. So we all knew it was in there, but yeah.
I think CNC is going to get reprinted as well.
Yeah, you think so? I mean, I hope so. I hope so because the card's way too expensive. But yeah, man. Well, Daylon, thank you so much for coming on, giving me your time. It's been great.
No problem.
Always good chatting with you. You know, we chat all the time, and we're always theory crafting and stuff like that. But anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
Nah, man. Shoot, just looking forward to Philadelphia. Gonna start grinding, getting some testing in. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put your Twitter in the show notes because I know you're pretty active on there, and stuff that I plug. I guess if you're just listening now, follow me on Twitter, freshbudspod. You can email the show, freshbudspod@gmail.com, and you can go subscribe to the YouTube. I've been doing some silly videos on there, just kind of having fun. And we do put all the audio versions of the podcast up on YouTube. And something I like to leave the show with, Daylon, every time I want you to talk about just some food that you really enjoy, like some dish like from down there in Texas that you like to eat a lot. Just hit me.
So I think I think here in Texas we have really good steak. I'm a huge steak fan, but the one restaurant, not restaurant, it's a fast food place. I don't know if you ever heard of Whataburger.
I've never had it, but I have heard of it. People talk it up big time.
Yeah, so my girl's from San Diego, and I'm from Texas, so
Mhm.
we always argue about Whataburger and In-N-Out, which one is better. Um, I think it's Whataburger. She says she hates Whataburger, but I think it's just a San Diego in her that just won't let her admit that Whataburger reigns supreme. So
Well, you just got hey, listen, you'll just have her in Texas for more and more years, and eventually she won't even remember In-N-Out, and then it's gonna be all Whataburger from there. So I gotta try Whataburger. Hopefully, I can get down to Texas at some point. Hopefully,
there's a Battle Harden in here in Arlington.
I know I've worked that weekend. I'm so mad, but yeah. But if there's another calling down in Dallas Fort Worth, I'm definitely gonna try to make it. But
Okay.
yeah, that's gonna do it for the show. I will see you guys all next week, and hopefully everybody has a great weekend.